Welcome to the Marketing Millennials, the No BS Marketing Podcast. I'm Daniel Murray, and join me for unfiltered conversations with the brains behind marketing's coolest companies. The one request I tell our guests, stories or it didn't happen. Get ready to turn the up.
Alright, so if you're a fan of the show, you probably know what a huge fan I am of using webinars for community building. And one of the top questions I get asked from marketers is what platforms they should use to host their webinars. That's where Wistia comes in. Wistia automatically creates a customizable registration page for every one of your webinars, so you can start generating new leads in no time. And when it's time to go live, Wistia gives you total control. You can bring panelists on and off stage with a click of a button, and keep your audience engaged with Wistia's live chat, polls, and Q&A. Plus, performance tracking is a total breeze thanks to Wistia's easy sync with HubSpot, Adobe Marketo Engage, and Pardot. To make an awesome webinar today, visit wistia.com/live. That's wistia.com/live.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Millennials podcast. Today I'm solo. I just left Boston. I was at Inbound. I learned some cool things. I got to speak. I got to meet the community. But one of the topics that always sticks out to me, and shout out to Jay Schwedelson, he is the king of email, is email subject lines. Now, I know what you're thinking. Subject lines, really? Yes, really. If your subject line doesn't catch someone's attention, the amazing content you spend hours writing and crafting is going to just sit, go unread. So that's why today I want to give you 7 subject line tips. Some I learned at Inbound, some I learned from doing my own newsletter that will help you get more opens, which will help you get more clicks, which will help you get more conversions. So, tip number 1, keep it short and punchy. Let's start with the basics here. You've probably heard it before, and I'm going to say it again because it's that important. Brevity is key. A study by Campaign Monitor found that subject lines with 3 to 5 words are optimal for higher open rates. Let's break it down. Most people check their emails on their phones these days, where longer subject lines get cut off. You only have a few words to grab their attention, so make each one count. And your subject line should be spent on for more than 2 to 3 seconds. You have to really think and make every word count. Here's an example. Instead of saying, here's everything you need to know about our product line launching next month, long subject line, you could trim it down to new product launch, sneak peek. Shorter, punchier, quicker, creates urgency. So do you see the difference? The shorter version, I just said, is easier to read, quicker to digest, and leaves room for curiosity. Another thing to remember is put the most important words at the beginning. I'll say that again. Put the most important words at the beginning. People skim, so you need to get your message across fast. Tip 2 is use emojis, but use them wisely. Believe it or not, emojis can increase your open rate. I saw something by Experian that said emojis can increase your open rate by even 56%. And I've seen this myself. I use emojis all over my subject lines. Why? Because they stand out in a sea of text. They add a visual element that naturally draws your eye. But here's the thing to remember. You've got to be intentional with your emojis. Don't just throw random emojis into your subject lines. They need to match the vibe of the message and the tone of the brand. Emojis should just give the subject line a little extra flavor. It shouldn't feel like it's forced into that subject line. It needs to complement the message. For example, if you have a new hot sale going on, a fire emoji. If it's summer, you can add a sun emoji. Those are some ideas. I actually like to repeat emojis so I stand out in the inbox every single time. So the Marketing Millennials, we use a fire emoji at the beginning of every subject line. So whenever you see a fire emoji, you know it's the Marketing Millennials email. And a little tip for B2B marketers here: don't just think emojis are for B2C, because B2B emails tend to be buttoned up, which gives you more opportunities to stand out with emojis. Just make sure you're using them that feels authentic to your brand and your messaging. We're going to go to tip number 3. Forget spam filter myths. For years, we've been scared to use the words free or sale in subject lines because of the fear of ending in the spam folder. But the truth is, email filters have gotten smarter. Modern email filters look at your sender reputation, not just individual words. If your past emails have high engagement, people opening, replying, clicking, you're pretty much in the clear. If you have something free to give away, you should put it in the subject line. People want to know, like saying you're giving away a free hoodie or free this or open this to get something free. You can add those into the subject line. If your content is valuable and relevant, it will get through the spam filters. And a bonus tip here that I like to use is ask for replies in your emails. A simple question like, what's your biggest marketing challenge you're experiencing? In my welcome email, I like to ask people, what's your favorite restaurant? This can boost your sender reputation if they reply, because it shows people are engaging with your content, and it gets you into that primary tab of the inbox. So if more people are engaging with your content, it gets into their primary tab instead of promotional. So get people to reply to your email. It's crucial. Tip number 4, personalization and think beyond first name. We all know the trick: using someone's first name in the subject line. It worked for a while, but now it's been overused. To make your subject lines feel truly personalized, go deeper. Use job titles, their interests, their location, recent interactions with your brand. This will help not only your open rates, but also getting the right people to open your emails. For example, if you're doing an event in New York, you can say, attention New York marketers. There's 2 personalizations right there. There's New York and marketers. You can use CMOs in your title if you're trying to target CMOs, job title way. You can use interest saying tennis lovers, open this email. It's one form of targeting. What I like to do, which is if people are opening things that say New York marketers and they open the email, it gives me a signal, and I like to put it in an automation to put in a list that, oh, these might be New York marketers. We should keep them on the list for next time we do a New York event or something for New York marketers. So the key here is collect great data, collect first-party data, and use it to make your subject lines more relevant.
I love hosting webinars. Seriously, they're one of the best marketing tools to take advantage of. Level up your marketing game with Wistia's all-in-one webinar platform. Whether you've got tons of experience hosting webinars or none at all, Wistia makes it easy to create, host, market, and analyze your webinars. It's seriously foolproof. Go to wistia.com/live to start generating and nurturing leads with webinars. That's wistia.com/live.
Tip number 5 is play with formatting. I like this one a lot. Your subject line doesn't have to follow traditional sentence structure. In fact, breaking up your formatting can make your email stand out in the inbox. Consider using brackets, ellipses, all caps strategically. When done right, the small tweak can make a difference in your open rates. An example is you can put reminder in brackets, exclusive event for event marketers, X, Y, and Z. The little nudge of creativity with your sentence structure differentiates you from countless of other emails sitting in the inbox. And don't be afraid to play with the space between words or symbols for emphasis. Tip number 6, power words create action. Words are powerful. Choosing the right words in your subject line can make the difference between an open or a delete. Certain words inspire action, others trigger emotion, and some are just boring. Download is one of those boring words. So swap it out with another word that like get or claim. And avoid corporate jargon. Your audience will tune it out immediately. Use words that they use in their everyday language. An example here is, instead of saying case study, use how we doubled sales in 30 days. Way more interesting than just saying, I have a case study, or open this together, our case study. Curiosity and emotion drive clicks. Use words that make your audience feel something. And tip number 7 is test everything. This is the most critical tip. Test, test, test. Every audience is different. And what works for my audience might not work for your audience, and what works for your audience might not work for your friend's audience. Split test your subject lines to see what resonates with your specific audience. For example, you can test out a subject line with or without an emoji. You could test subject lines that are direct, like save 20% today, or curiosity driven. Don't miss out on this exclusive sale. The key is to experiment with radically different subject lines. Small tweaks might not give you enough data to draw conclusions. If you're not testing, you're just guessing. So just please test your subject lines. I'm going to give you a bonus tip here before we wrap up. The first email you send to a new subscriber to your list is the most important subject line in email. If they open that first email, they're far more likely to open future emails. And if they open it and reply, like I talked about earlier, you have even more better chance that they will open future email. So make your welcome email subject line something that immediately builds trust and delivers value. First impressions matter, especially in email marketing. Nail the first subject line, and every subject line, but nail the first one and test it. You'll see long-term engagement benefits from doing this. So that was the episode today for the Marketing Millennials. Subject lines are simple, but they're one of the most important elements of your email strategy. Use these tips, test them out, and maybe you'll see that uptick in your open rates. One last tip I'll give you too is one great resource I use all the time to test subject lines is subjectline.com. Great resource. You can put in your subject line, it will give you a grade. It uses AI now. So go use that. So if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with your marketing team. Also, I always am open to feedback. So send it to me on LinkedIn. I'm Daniel Murray on LinkedIn. And send me if this helped you or not. I always like to learn. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much for listening. Keep tuning in to hear more great insights from the coolest marketers from around the world. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and follow the Marketing Millennials podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you hear, I would greatly appreciate you giving us a 5-star rating. It helps bring more marketers into our community.